Let's go!
It's the LA Football Podcast.
Touchdown Ram! Recovered by the Chargers. Touchdown UCLA!
With USC great and NFL stud, Frostee Rucker.
The Trojans back in front!
And LAFB founder Ryan Dyrud on the Believe Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. This is your destination for Los Angeles football.
What's up, Los Angeles? Welcome to the Believe in LA Football Podcast. We got a special edition episode here on the Believe Podcast Network and LAFBnetwork.com. We're doing a full show dedicated to your questions. They've been rolling in to Frosty and I. I'm so excited to just, go back and forth and answer these questions. So without further ado, though, got to introduce my co-host, Mr. Frostee Rucker. What's going on, man?
Ryan, LA, I'm good, man. Finally, it's almost we need a drum roll. Can we add a drum roll in there? A drum roll for, we got to answer these questions. For a while now, we've been saying, email us, and they just keep stacking up, and we never do anything about it, but say we're going to respond. Now we're going to respond. Like I said on the last episode that we recorded and shot out to you guys, 90% of this stuff is okay to respond to. That 10%, Ryan,
Not good for the
there. It's not good.
Yeah.
And you guys better cut it out because before you know it, you keep doing it. I'm going to actually say who you are if it's not made up and, put you on blast. So Here goes it. We're going to respond to some of these questions and this should be a good one.
Yeah, should be fun. Just casual, go back and forth. You can kind of get to know Frosty and myself a little more. Obviously, show brought to you by Golden Road Brewery, Bolt Up, and Who's House. Our Rams and Chargers beers can be found right at LAFBnetwork.com, so you can head there. Make it easy. Head to the LAFB locker room and purchase there. But, make sure to keep the questions coming. We want to, at some point kind of just get a couple questions every episode, but figure this would be a fun, different show to just have it all in one, but keep them coming to Frosty. If you want to personalize it to Frosty, where do they email you at?
Well, like I put on my Instagram, and I'm sure I need to do it on my Twitter, but email me at frosteepodcast@yahoo.com. Happy to announce that a couple of my boys, close friends I grew up with, have asked some of these questions that I'm going to be able to answer. I didn't answer it to them. I get to answer it on this show.
That's right.
So, email me there. And Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, you can get a personalized shout out from Frosty. For me, if you want a generic, just do podcasts at LAFBnetwork.com for both of us. Or I am Ryan Dyrud, LAFB is where you can find me. I'm most active on Twitter. I feel like you're most active on Instagram. So it's a good blend, I guess.
I retweet though.
You do? Yeah, you've been getting better.
Because you sent me the text like, hey, bro, retweet.
Yeah.
Just went live. I don't even know what that means, man. I'm just like, okay, I go on, retweet.
I think I tag you in almost every one of my tweets, and 1 out of like 30, you'll throw a retweet. Whenever I text you, hey, can you retweet this?
Maybe that's a question. If someone can fill me in, can I ask a question to everyone else? Can you explain Twitter to me? I just don't get it. I've been on it for years, and I just don't get it.
Was that when you joined? Here's a question just from me. Maybe this was a good one from someone, but when you joined social media as an athlete, was it by choice or was it an agent or a PR guy say, hey, you need to start building your brand outside of football?
Twitter was my manager. Lauren, she told me, hey, bro, you have to post some stuff. If you need me to come up with some stuff, just be more active there. And I still don't get it. That's why I'm a little hesitant. Actually, when I was in Cleveland is when I started Instagram because I had some younger players there. Joe Hayden was there. TJ Ward was there. And they were so active on Instagram. They're like, bro, this is the new wave. And I was already an OG. And it was like year 7 for me. They're like, get your old ass on social media. And I was off of it, Facebook completely and all that. So I'm just now really getting the groove of it and understanding Instagram. I did it, 5 years of my career, 6 years of my career. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm getting savvy, more savvy than I was. I'll say that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're super active on Instagram, so people can find you there and easily. And it's just a great way to not only build your own brand, but just interact with, fans and other people and people you don't necessarily have phone numbers to. Like I said, I'm way more active on Twitter. So I'll maybe next time we're together, I'll explain it to you more. Because it's more conversationally, whereas, Instagram is more photo obviously based. So, but anyway, let's get into these other questions. I guess I'll start it off.
Start it off.
I'm going to start off with the doozy because these are always the hardest ones to answer, but we'll just start off right off the bat. So Bill from La Jolla asked this: what is your favorite sports movie? Any movie question is like impossible to answer, but Frost, I'll let you go first. If you need to think about it, I can maybe come up with mine. Favorite sports movie?
Bill from La Jolla.
Bill.
Yeah, old Bill. Billy, as they call him, if you know.
Right. William, Will, Bill. Is there any name that has more nicknames than Bill?
Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to have to say Remember the Titans.
Oh, you dog.
Yeah, was that what you're going to go
That
with?
was mine, yeah.
You just, when you really simplify it and you look at the core of it and what it did and the time, it kind of resembles what's going on now in the unrest with, being a civilian nowadays. And obviously you have Denzel Washington playing the heck out of that role with Coach Boone. The setting of it, the segregation and integration part, it's just good for the soul. And that's my favorite. So do you have another favorite, right?
Yeah, I'll come up with so I just want to comment because I hands down my favorite movie. Like maybe not even my favorite just sports movie. It might be my favorite movie. So well done. The cast obviously great, but just love not even talking football yet. You allude to it, just how the team comes together, how the coaching staff comes together. Because, you still have, even when they start coaching, there's that, well, I don't really trust him that much. And then finally at the end of the game, he's like, in the movie, he's like, hey, I could use your help out there. He's kicking my ass. Time to, let's come together. And it's beautiful to watch, beautiful to see it. It's a reminder of, we still have work to do in even 2020. And that was in 1970. And 40, 50 years later, we still have some work to do, but it shows that it can be done when the work is put in. And then the football aspect of it, for when it was made, I think it's almost like a 20-year-old movie now. And the actual football scenes are top notch. I mean, pretty incredible.
Ryan Gosling was a liability.
Ryan Gosling, a liability in coverage. Absolutely. I don't know.
He played by Faison, Donald Faison, can play defense. And who knew PD can play defense? I didn't know.
Play defense, yeah. Bird tier, just, all-American linebacker. Yep. Love it. Sunshine. The characters were great. So if I got to come up with there's been so many good sports movies. I always kind of lean towards football movies. That's my sport. I love Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Underrated sports movie. But if I'm going to just go with one that with my gut, because I played the sport, I got to go with Miracle, the hockey movie, the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. Kurt Russell plays Herb Brooks. This, again, another just underdog story. What they went through playing amateur athletes, being, all college players playing against a bunch of pro Russians who hadn't lost in like 16 straight years. Phenomenal true story. And it was filmed super well. All the being someone that played hockey, all those hockey scenes were super realistic. So I'll go with Miracle as my second tier, my 1B after Remember the Titans.
So you go for a heartfelt movie.
Yeah.
Always, right? Let me ask you a question. Remember the Titans with my 1A.
Mm-hmm.
If I can go 1B, the only question I have to ask you is, Caddyshack considered a sports movie?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Caddyshack's great. Bill Murray, come on. In the hole. Oh, Caddyshack.
There's too many of them. That's a great question because there's so many of them that you can put up there. I like White Man Can't Jump. That's a good one.
That's a great
Cool
one.
Runnings.
Cool Runnings is great.
Major League.
Yep, Major League. I just watched Glory Road again the other day, the Texas Western basketball one. Greatest
Space
game.
Jam.
Get there, Space Jam. Coming out with Space Jam 2. LeBron, where you at? When's that dropping? We're getting off topic. That's fine. That's the point of the show. Can Space Jam 2 live up to the hype of Space Jam?
No, there's no chance.
Way, right?
I'm a big LeBron fan. Obviously, I'm a Lakers fan. You know that.
Yeah.
Your Denver Nuggets to go to the finals. I don't think you remember that. But regardless of that, no, I don't think it can. Mostly, I don't think it can. Most sequels don't outdo the first one.
Yeah.
No way. And Michael Jordan led Space Jam 1, and knowing the background of it when he had all the guys come and practice and participate in the movie and whatnot, I don't think you can duplicate that.
Yeah. I think the only way that it can live up to the hype is if they really go a different direction. Obviously, you're going to have the Monstars and stuff like that, but they can't really make it a sequel. It almost has to just be a separate movie with the same title. Coolest thing I thought about Space Jam. Did you watch the documentary Last Dance? The thing that was huge back then?
Absolutely.
It was so cool when they were showing when MJ was in Hollywood filming for that movie, he set up a gym in like whatever it was, Burbank or Glendale, to still be practicing with the team, and was, shooting the movie 8 hours a day and then practicing 6 hours. Like, guy was unreal. Pretty cool to see.
So you're giving him the GOAT title, and then we can move on.
I mean,
Is MJ GOAT?
You can't just throw that at me right now.
Well, I did. Is he GOAT? It's. I mean, there's a whole list of guys.
Yeah, I'd probably go with I'd probably lean yes. It's tough, but
Bill Russell's up there.
Bill Russell, obviously Kobe, R.I.P. Obviously LeBron. Tim Duncan's an underrated guy, but what he was able to do at the power forward position. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain is a guy that doesn't get talked about because he played 50 plus years ago. There's too many. Okay, if we're being real, before we go way off down the rabbit hole, I always go, and no one ever says this because of statistically, but Magic Johnson to me is maybe not the GOAT, but he's way closer than people give him credit for. Just what he was able to do with the basketball, playing all 5 positions, could take over game, whether it was passing, defense, or offense. So I'm a huge Magic guy. I love Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that's good.
Respect. So, all right, Frost. We've only got through one question so far. So get to the next one.
Okay. So the next one is coming from a good buddy of mine, Namar Mays out of Florence, Kentucky. I'm glad our show is resonating for people all across the states too, by the way. Friends and family, keep paying attention to us. We're trying really hard and we're perfecting this. So he asked me, what was my biggest regret with football? And when I read that, it caught me off guard. Like, I don't have any regrets, right? You don't live with regrets. You just keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when I simplified what he was saying to me, I'd have to say not eliminating distractions.
Mm-hmm.
And that rings and resonates with me well from my earlier years in the NFL all the way to the end. Not really attacking distractions and getting rid of them and focusing. And it weighs on me a little bit because there's one way that, you have to show compassion and different feelings toward things. And, it could be your family, it could be anything like that is distracting you. And how to simplify, like what's right, what's wrong way to feel about it, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I feel like distractions that I'm talking about are self-inflicted ones. Maybe it's, I shouldn't have went to that last bar that one night, or I should have did this because the result could have turned out worse.
Yeah.
And if I can eliminate those distractions and mature, like I am now, because I got this COVID thing down. I've been doing it for a while, this quarantine thing, but going back, I wish I wasn't more of a homebody. So eliminating distractions is mine.
That's a good one. Yeah. Obviously, I think you did a pretty good job having a 13-year career, so it didn't derail you too bad, but can always be better in certain aspects. So I don't know if I need to answer that question. I don't think I had a long enough football career to really have any regrets.
Well, can you say what's one of the biggest regrets up to now for you?
Just in life in general?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a good question. I know it's cliche. Everyone says, no regrets, try to live. But, there's always things we can do absolutely better. I mean, if you want to go just professionally, which I'm just drawing a blank. I know there's obviously tons of stuff I would do differently, but if you look professionally, taking jobs that, weren't necessarily right for me or things that I thought was going to be a good opportunity and it turned into just a giant waste of time. And I wasted, years of effort and hard work I worked at. But then even from those, the good things came out of it. I had a job after college that was literally not a good job, not a great place to work. The money was awful, basically waste time, but I met my wife at that job. So I'm not going to regret that because obviously it turned into the best thing ever for me. So I don't know. I'll have to, if anything, and I don't want to sound like I've lived a perfect life because I haven't, but I'll have to come back to that because I can't think of just a particular one that has derailed things, which I guess you didn't answer. You answered too. It doesn't have to derail you, just which could you do better? So I don't know. We'll come back to that for me.
Cool.
Okay, here's an easy one. I'll just do that. In football, high school football, I didn't play my senior year. Played freshman, sophomore, junior. I broke my collarbone my junior year. I worked my ass off to get up until there. And I was, buried on the depth chart. We had 2 really good senior receivers. We had 2 other juniors that were, I don't want to sound like I'm defending myself, but I was 5'5", 5'4" as a junior, and they were 6'3". So they were just automatically, the coach saw them as you're starting over him. worked my ass off all summer. I was there every morning, 7 a.m. in the gym before these other guys. I stayed after practice with the quarterbacks, basically got to the starting slot receiver on varsity, broke my collarbone week 1. By the time I got back 7 weeks later, I was like 8 on the depth chart, basically had no shot to work my way back into it. So when it came time to go to senior year, I was like, you know what, man, I've worked so hard. My coaches don't see me. I wasn't a huge fan of my offensive coordinator. I was like, I kind of just want to enjoy my senior year, which I did. I had a blast. But looking back, I kind of wish I would have just finished out, played my senior year. Who knows? Maybe could have gotten some college looks. I don't know. But yeah, there we go. I guess that's a decent regret.
Oh, there you go. And I'll take that one.
Yeah. I don't like to say I'm a quitter, but I quit essentially.
Rip the scab off.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much, to put it bluntly. Okay, there we go. All that thinking, I could have said that from the beginning. Okay, so am I next on the questions?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay. All right, let's get a female perspective. Janet from Palmdale. Good old
Palmdale.
Yeah.
We should play that clip in here somehow.
I can get that song teed up.
Yes.
I'll get that song teed up.
How'd you get it?
It'll be perfect right now when we're doing this little back and forth. I'll just have it playing in the background. So, all right, here's another generic question we can both answer. Proudest sports moment. For you, it'll probably be as a player. For me, it'll probably be as a fan, since I have a shorter career. But proudest sports moment.
Great question. My proudest moment has to be when we won our national championship versus Oklahoma. We got the trophy back, obviously, because we're putting it in Heritage Hall where all our trophies are. If you guys don't know how USC are, we have a whole bunch of trophies. Or a shout out for USC having a whole bunch of trophies. And but we had this this gathering with all the students and whatnot on campus by Tommy Trojan, and being there with my teammates amongst all my classmates, the ones that didn't get to go to the game, and teachers and whatnot, because the game was all the way in Miami for that national championship. And to bring that back home, it was like, it was just a proud moment to be amongst my peers and people I see every day, and them say how proud they were, and how congrats. And it felt like we all won, right? It wasn't just a team at that moment. We all celebrated that. So yeah, that would be my proudest moment in my sports career.
How do you come top that? That's a good one. That's when USC was like on top of the world. I mean, you guys were so dominant, so good, beat down Oklahoma. What was it, like 55-10 or something was the total, the final? Yeah, great game, offense, defense. Would have been cool. Cool. For me, probably have to go as a fan here, because if not, I'm going back to like 12-year-old, 13-year-old playing days. So I
can go back to that too.
Yeah, I mean, I got some cool hockey stories and stuff. Some individual games, some team games. But I'll just go as a fan because this is more recent. I flew out for the Broncos Patriots AFC Championship game. It was the last Manning-Brady game in Denver. It was the year the Broncos ended up obviously winning that game. They went on to win the Super Bowl against Carolina. So just being out there, me and my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, came with me. We flew out. We stayed at a buddy's house in downtown Denver, woke up, tailgated. We're in the stadium. It was a raucous house. Just as a fan, watching your team win to go to the Super Bowl and being at it, not just watching it at TV or at a bar, was just, after it was over, the confetti comes down, you kind of sit back and you're like, wow, I was just a part of something really special. So as a fan, that was definitely my proudest moment. Like, okay, I'm in love with this team.
That's real awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could sense that. Just like you said, when it's your team and you're so invested in it, and that's your lifelong, you're a Bronco, and being in that moment, it's like you have a part in it too, because you've been hoping and wishing and cheering and being supportive and, getting in bar fights, and I get it.
Well, and hopefully you as a player and players, like I'm sure you do, but that when you reach that pinnacle as a team, what you're giving to a community and a fan base, because fans can be ruthless, man. They can be horrible, but they can also be like the greatest asset in your corner when you are successful. So I know in your career, obviously did some great things. I mean, Arizona, you guys made it to that year, I think, made it to the NFC Championship game. So hopefully you're able to experience that on the other side and seeing how much pride the fans got in that success.
On a note of what you said that I didn't really notice when I was playing professional football until Bruce Arians highlighted this for the whole team. He said, when we win games on Sundays, thinking about your fans, your family, and friends that go to work the next day and how pumped they are that their team won. and that you did good because you represented them. So when he said that, it really was like, wow, I never thought about it because we're coming back in to get critiqued and cussed out, even though we won, you're still going to get cussed out for missing the tackle or stepping wrong.
Yeah.
But other people, they're going, they can wear their hats, their shirts, they got their fantasy team stuff and, they're pumped up. And I always felt good that, I busted my tail to give someone else a smile on their face.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. It's so much fun. And when I wrote a piece a while back when I first started writing about the family bond a team creates with people. I kind of built it up and this will be the last thing because again, that's the point of the show. They're going down this. I was at a bar in LA. There used to be a Broncos bar when I was in college and I went to this bar and probably 150 people there and you're with people you've never met. You'd probably never hang out with other than in that instance. And you find yourself hugging, clapping, high-fiving, and you build this like family bond through a game of football. So it's a cool thing and it's creates a sense of pride. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Frost, you're up on the questions.
Okay. So remember all my questions were sent directly to me, so they're not a broad question for both of us, but obviously we're going to always find a way and angle it so that you can give a response to.
Like an awkwardly pause for 2 minutes till I think. Okay.
Yeah. So this question is from Mike Reed of Newport Beach, or I should say La Quinta, California now, because he has moved over there to the desert and he got a nice Reed, what up? One of my guys from USC. He asked, who is your biggest influence? And he wasn't really specific. He didn't say in football or anything. But there's only one person that I could say that's my biggest influence. And later on in my life, I finally figured out, or I could double down on why, because of experience. But I'm going to have to say my father. Mm-hmm. So my biggest influence is my father, just because of how humble of a guy he is. My father's worked for the Santa Ana School District for going on 30 years now. At a head custodian. He is a football coach, a basketball coach. He's overall just a very supportive guy in that community. A lot of kids have, grown up through his school that he coached at and worked at. They've gone on, graduated. Now their kids are coming up. And one of the first things he always tells me is those kids come up to him like, well, my dad said I should talk to you first when they get there as like sixth graders and stuff like that. And the person my dad is, and everyone knows him as Pops, Pops is just so legit. He's he's the man. He always has a smile on his face. He always got some words of wisdom for you. He says he doesn't like to talk, but he'll talk your head off. He can go, but he'll say he doesn't want to talk. But honestly, who my dad is makes me so proud, and how he is and how he carries himself. And he's my biggest influence. That's
great. Yeah. Pops. I love it. Maybe one day, hopefully I'll be able to meet him and have him chat my ear off. But
well, he will.
Yeah. Good. For me, as soon as you started reading the question, I had the same answer. I didn't have to think twice. It's my dad also. I know it's a cliche, easy out, but it's just the truth. My dad's my hero. Someone that not only influenced me, but inspired me my whole childhood and still to this day. He was a pastor for 25 years, leading a church that he and my mom started, didn't just take over some big church. They started it from scratch. So influential in the community, held families together when they tried to keep, I don't want to say separation of church and state, but they tried to keep church stuff away from our family just because it can consume you. But I saw growing up families that were being broken, and he was basically the saving grace in saving those families and keeping them together while also being the head of our house and keeping our family together and inspiring us to be good men, me and my brother, my sister to be a good woman. And, still to this day, I always, go to him for advice being, I'm 30 years old and I'll call my dad up. Hey, what would you do in this situation? So easy one for me. My dad definitely is my biggest influence and still my biggest hero. So yeah. Go Dads.
Go Dads.
And that's what I think me and you hope our kids say here in 30 years.
Yeah, man, we just got to keep doing what we're doing, man. We're doing a great job. We're staying present, consistent, and doing everything we can to be fathers. So
yeah.
That's up to you, Ryan.
Yeah, little Mia is sitting right there just staring at me. So we'll see if we can get through this without her yelling. All right, we'll go a little more less. That was a great question, but we'll go less heavy on this next one. Kevin from Baldwin Park. Ironic that he's from the city where this started. In-N-Out versus Whataburger. It seems to be a trending topic across Twitterverse, if you will. It's an easy answer for me, but In-N-Out or Whataburger?
In-N-Out, bud.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Yeah, I mean, Whataburger, they have a breakfast sandwich. I think it's a chicken sandwich with a butter biscuit, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken sometimes when it comes to food. I'm pretty much legit. But In-N-Out altogether.
So much better. It's just
What do you order at In-N-Out?
What do I order?
What's your order, your go-to?
I just
if Ryan had to get lunch and he's driving through the drive-thru at In-N-Out, what are you going to get every time?
I get a double with grilled onions, add chopped chilies, animal style fries, and a Napoleon milkshake.
Okay.
No. What about you?
I get a double animal style.
Mm-hmm.
I get fries. I don't really eat all the fries for some reason.
I never do either.
Yeah, so I don't eat all the fries. And I get a strawberry shake.
Strawberry. Nice. Yeah, I like the Neapolitan because you get a little of all of them. Whataburger, to me, Whataburger's whatever. It's just not. Yeah. Anyone from Texas is going to say Whataburger's better, but it's just not true.
Well, now In-N-Out's starting to sprinkle in those areas, so then, we might have to do a new poll.
Yeah, I know they have them out in Vegas. I think some in Arizona. They're actually opening one in Colorado any day now. So, yeah, that one was easy, and it's not biased because I'm not even from here originally. You are, but I'm not, and it's In-N-Out.
Yeah.
All day. So, filling, great quality. For me, it's consistency. I've never been to In-N-Out where I'm like, wow, that burger was way worse today. Like, it's always just consistently good. All right.
Yeah.
You're up.
Okay, so I'm up next, Ryan, right?
Yes, sir.
So, again, my questions came, and a lot of my best friends took the time to write these, and it's really surprising because we talk all the time, and for them not to ever ask me or talk about these questions, but let alone just ask them in question form, stand out. So Antaeus Walker, one of my best friends growing up, what up, Antaeus? He asked, how did you feel when your social status changed? And, that's weird. For me, I've always thought I was just Frost. I've always carried myself as Frost, and that's just how I'm going to be. But I did notice when my social status changed and how did I feel about it. I noticed one time I wrote something on Instagram. I commented on something, and it wasn't out of bounds or anything like that. But usually I'm the one that pays attention to the comment section. Mm-hmm. So I get laugh out of, all the people arguing. It's funny to me. So, but it's funny to me. So I commented one time, and it was something real silly, I think. And the amount of people that commented after, talking to me, supporting my view on it, and it was something that it wasn't even political. It wasn't anything like that. And right then I knew my social status was changed because people value what I said in that instance, and they took it for what it was. And I could have been joking on my end, and it really caught me off guard. Like, man, I really got to be careful before I press send on my, my text or, on the computer. Before I hit return and send it out there into, the universe, I got to be careful because people do follow what we do. And, as, a leadership of my home, a leadership when I was playing football, people look up to what you say and your opinion on things. So, believe it or not, I didn't set out to be a role model, but that comes with the territory of living a certain way and being in that position where people look up to you because of the profession you have. So it made me feel that I was important, and I had a role to do.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that answers it, Antaeus. I know we talk about everything across the landscape, but it made me feel that in my position, I was important because I can say something and steer a view either way.
Yeah, you were given a responsibility.
My platform, right?
Yeah.
Other people have greater ones, but I can't. For me, I've always just tried to be Frost, and I never really put myself as anything other than that. But it comes with all this other stuff, all this combination of work. We talk about national champions and championships and playing in the NFL for 13 years. It comes with the social status that comes with that. And I'm still looking up to guys like LeBron, Muhammad Ali, and these guys that have been vocalizing and can shift the nation with their words, and everyone's glued in. So I'm looking at them for the answer, Colin Kaepernick, right? I'm looking at these guys of, setting the tone for that. But I didn't know my little voice, Frostee, still meant something to people. So I felt important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you start small, even though you have this platform, but I know you're doing stuff in your own city of Tustin. And then from there, you grow that platform and keep going. And yeah, did you see that change, if you will, at the college level or did you maybe not notice it till, like you said, you were on Instagram in Cleveland? Is that where you first kind of started seeing
Yeah, I mean, it was on Instagram maybe 2 or 3 years ago, so it wasn't that far detached. I knew, obviously, I played professional football. You got to watch what you do. But until 80 people responded on one thing that I said, I didn't know the magnitude of what my voice could have done. And then I go back to feeling like, I'm just Frost. I'm down here, and I'm looking up to, LeBron James, like I said, Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed, these guys that are really putting it out there and shifting the whole way things are navigated nowadays in social justice and things. And Malcolm Jenkins and these guys are really leading the charge. I didn't think my words really could echo that far, but people, will respond. So, I got to be careful with what I do too.
Yeah, careful, but also it shows how much power might not be the right word, but how much influence and stuff you can have. So I think it's awesome. You're a good guy to wield it. So some guys can't wield that responsibility very well, and
they let it rip, don't they?
Let it rip, yeah. But I think you're one that can. So excited to see what you and we can both hopefully do together in that. I know we've talked off podcast about stuff that you have in the works, so I won't spill the beans on that, but I think some cool stuff coming that'll make a lot of change and a lot of good things for our communities and for Los Angeles. So I'm happy to be doing that with you. All right. Let's go. Okay. This is a question. It's, I apologize to the LA Rams fan club for the tardiness of this, because it's been it was related to last week's game, but when we decided we wanted to just do a full question show, obviously we've moved past that, but I think it's still worth answering. So we got asked on Twitter from the LA Rams fan club about, the Rams last week scored 29 unanswered points and lost. So their question was, what was the biggest point comeback for a loss in the NFL? Well, I did some research. I put in some work. It's hard to find something. You have to go game by game even. And so I don't know if this is the full correct answer, but I think it was a good enough one. Back in 1960, the inaugural year of the AFL, the Denver Broncos were losing to the Buffalo Bills 38-7 in the third quarter. They came all the way back to tie it, and the game ended in a tie. So, I don't know if that's the answer they were looking for, but 31, whereas the Rams scored 29, 31 unanswered points, but the game ended in a tie. So they didn't get the win. So I thought that was a close enough to a good answer for them.
But you went back and you figured it out for them. So kudos to you, Ryan.
Yeah, went back in time. So that was an easy one. We don't got to go back and forth on that question. So that's the answer. So, okay, back to you, Frost.
So this next question comes from one of my best friends, Lofa Tatupu. He's out of Seattle, Washington. If you guys don't know who Lofa Tatupu, 3-time Pro Bowl player, first 3 years in the league, second-round pick out of USC. He was my roommate when I first got to USC because we transferred in. Great guy, completely great guy. And his question was, how hard is it to talk about UCLA? That's a good one. Because, Ryan, you know me. You know that's a good one. It's getting better, and I'm obviously this is my first time really getting into this new role of podcasting and having to openly express UCLA in a positive nature, right?
Yeah.
Because anything else, it was very negative. But what I'm learning throughout this is that even though they're like our stepbrother in LA, no, I'm just kidding. See, I don't even know how to keep it classy with these guys. No, dude, it's been easy just because UCLA and USC haven't even been playing football yet, and it's coming up. So I haven't really have to talk about it too much. We had to have one interview, and it's a great interview. So I feel a lot better about it, But ultimately, time's going to tell because it's coming up, and hopefully that we don't get bad ratings because, especially when SC and UCLA play.
Yeah. No, it's good. You've held together good, and you've done fine. The beauty of it is because I like both teams. I've said before when I was coming from Colorado, my at the time dream school was UCLA. I would have loved to go to USC because it was private. It was way out of the question. No way I could afford it. It was even double the price of UCLA. So it was UCLA. Still couldn't afford that, so I ended up going to Long Beach State. But then as I've lived here, I've grown to really love USC. I think part of that's just they've had a little more success on the football field also, and I didn't have ties to either, so I've kind of rooted for both. Went to UCLA games, been to USC games. So that being said, we can certainly have you being more USC heavy, and I'll just kind of swing the pendulum, and I can give balance for the UCLA stuff. So there's so many radio stations. I mean, ESPN LA, Jim Ireland went to UCLA, I believe, and his co-Steve Mason went to USC. So they have a definite disdain a little bit for each other's schools, but that's the beauty of it. You can go back and forth as long as you give credit where credit's due. That's what it's all about.
I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. I don't want to disdain with you at all about it. I'm here to promote our LA shows and do it the best. That's why I got these palm trees up here.
That's right.
I mean, I'm on everyone know I'm all about the palm trees, and they got palm trees in Westwood too.
They do. They do. They don't look any different. They all look the same.
No, they don't.
Oh, there's different kinds of palm trees, but you get what I'm getting at.
But yeah, they all look the same for the gist of it. And, Lofa, it hasn't been too hard. So I'm just going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
That answers your question.
There you go. Lofa's great, man. I was talking to him. So I don't know if you knew this. Braun knew Lofa. So Braun is our network president, knew Lofa. But when we were in Miami for the Super Bowl, Lofa was our first guy we had on Radio Row. He was cruising around promoting his one of his products. And so he came on the show.
Zone in, CB.
Zone in. Yeah, got to get that in. We'll drop that in for you, Lofa. Zone in. So we had him on the show and just kind of, talk back and forth, had a blast. And afterwards, we're like, hey, man, you should look into doing a podcast. And we need a Seahawks guy on our network. So I don't want to take the credit for getting Lofa on the Believe Network, but we were the first ones to really talk to him. And I've talked to him since. And Seattle comes to LA in mid-November. So Frosty, I think we've already kind of a little bit talked to it, but now we're just talking live. We want to get together with those guys, him and Brett Davern, do their show and do a crossover show, hopefully actually in person. I don't know if we'll be out of the stadium yet, but if we go to a bar, if we're sitting outside Golden Road, if we're sitting outside the stadium with, a picnic table, either way, it'll be a good time.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, make it happen. So, all right. So here's my last question, Frost, and you'll end the show with one final one. So my last question comes from Michael Parker in Tustin.
That's my guys. Another one of my best friends. I told you.
Your guys. Okay. Well,
I know. They're paying attention. They're supporting me, man.
I love it. Yeah. Where are my guys at? Got no questions for my guys. Where are they at? They listened to me for the first 3 years of me, building this. And now they're like, all right, we've listened enough to that guy. So the question is, how are you, and this will be basically for you, how are you able to balance family and sports?
Well,
good one.
It was a difficult thing. Obviously, the sport part of it is like a relationship. Me and him talk so much. So this is a good question. Maybe this is a question he wanted to ask because I was going to do this live. Sport takes precedent of a lot of things because of the sacrifice. Not only your time, it's your energy, your mental, everything. And while you're chasing sport or, chasing this relationship, you're all in on it because the second you're not focused on it, it gets away from you. And, I played 28 straight years of football since I was 7 years old, so I was 35.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned earlier, the distractions, if I would have let any of those distractions, they could have came from any area. It could have been a money situation. It could have been an accident. It could have been partying. It could have been anything. If I would have let that stuff control me, I wouldn't have lasted so long. So the balance is there is everyone has to sacrifice. Everyone sacrificed. My mom, Lincoln's mother, my sisters, I wasn't, my nephew and my niece, I didn't have all the time to be the best son to my mom, right? Because I was busy. I didn't have enough time to be the best uncle I could be, right? I missed a lot of my my first cousin's football games, high school games, because I continued to play. The longevity of my own career ended up playing, and I missed out on their whole high school careers. And they played some good football in Tennessee, and I missed those. And to attain what I wanted to do, I had to sacrifice that stuff. So it was a hard balance. And you just have to be a strong knitted group of a family to get through that when someone is sacrificing their efforts and their time to not give the attention to others. So that's how I did. I just kept working, and not everything ends on a positive note, but at the end of the day, it's what your dreams are, right? And I got this right here because let me show you this. I'm actually recording from my
There you go. I like it.
room. But yeah, it's like I was living my dream. So I had to sacrifice. No one was up at 5 a.m. running and lifting and getting cussed out and getting critiqued and things like that. So sport took precedent, and it does in a lot of athletes' lives.
Yeah. No, I don't think a lot of fans, and if you want to call them civilians, know exactly how much sacrifice you guys as professionals put in. I remember just in high school how much of a sacrifice it was, not being able to go out on weekends or hang out with friends, or it was literally from 6 a.m. until almost 10 at night. It was school and football, because after practice, then it was homework, and the professional level takes it even to another level because you're traveling every single week and doing all this. So what you had to sacrifice, and then also, like you mentioned, your family and knowing, hey, Frostee loves us, Frostee cares, he's doing this for us and as a unit for his dream, and we're going to support that dream. So I think it takes two sides to it to accept it. And yeah, I mean, I can't really comment too much on it because I haven't been through that, but
yeah, so that's all it is. I mean, it takes a lot of sacrifice, man, and hopefully everyone's not pissed off at you at the end when you're done doing what you needed to do.
There you go. Well, I think you did okay. So, all right, Frost, you got the last question of the question show of the LA Football Podcast.
And this last question, Ryan, it comes from someone very dear to me, someone that's known me my whole entire life. This is from my lovely mother, Melba Rucker.
Mama Bear.
So Mom texted me this question, and all she said was, well, the only question I would have is, how are you doing?
Like a true mom.
Simple. And Mom, I'm doing all right. Personally, I'm watching what's going on around me, what the current climate is with social change and social unrest, and how people are disgruntled with a lot of things. And, I'm doing all right. I'm weathering through in it. I'm paying attention to it. I'm reading. I'm taking the time now that I have the time to understand different perspectives and even respect those different perspectives. I'm very fortunate, Mom, that you and Dad had me in Orange County, California, a multicultural area where I have many best friends that come from different backgrounds, Vietnamese, Mexican, Korean, Japanese, Samoan, Black, white. Across the board, I have best friends in every demographic, and I'm so fortunate because the way I see things through my lens is completely different from a lot of people in the South and different areas that still just, they're not as, I wouldn't say liberal in a sense, but they're not as open-minded to accepting different things.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate in that aspect. I'm all right. I pray for more peace. I pray for change. I pray for people to be more understanding. I pray for people to, not speak out of emotion and hurt. And I'm praying for the nation to heal.
Mm-hmm.
With COVID, I'm praying for it to go away. I'm just praying for the nation to heal. And if we can come together, it would make me from I'm doing all right to I'm doing good.
Yeah, doing great. No, we need healing on a lot of aspects. So, yeah, you said it perfectly. I I moved here to LA. Obviously, I went to school, but the reason why I chose out here was where I grew up was very white, predominantly white. My high school was like 95% white. Suburb of, Denver has diversity, but I was in a suburb town of Denver. So I wanted to go somewhere where I could be exposed to a lot of different cultures, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, because that's what America is. That's what this country was built on. Other things leading up to that. So I chose Long Beach State as a school that has a ton of diversity. And now I have, friends, as you mentioned, all walks of life. And it's really not just eye-opening, but it's encouraging and inspiring to be around those people and to be able to just listen and understand and hear what everyone's going through in different aspects. And so, yeah, we have a ways to go, but I think there's positives. I say it all the time. I'm a glass half full guy. I think there's positives we can take, but hopefully if we get this question from your mom again, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, it can increasingly get, I'm doing better, I'm doing great, I'm doing superb, I'm doing fantastic. So work to do, but hopefully we can do it together, all of us in this community, and make LA and Orange County the best place we can be. So excited about what to come.
Let's just keep doing our roles, man. Let's stay positive and, and be open to other people's mindsets and stuff, and just lead by example. Do what's right.
Take it from Rosa Parks right there.
She said, nah.
I got to get me one of those, man. I love that shirt.
Christmas is coming up, buddy. I got you.
There we go. So, all right. Well, the first special edition question episode of the LA Football Podcast, that was fun for us. Thank you. That was a good time.
Keep sending the questions in. Hopefully these questions come from all across the states, because our numbers are going up. Yeah. So because you guys are listening, and hopefully the content getting better and better as we go and as we grow together as a team. Me and Ryan, we work very hard. So continue to write in, continue to support us, and we're going to get your questions answered. And as we grow, we're going to be doing more stuff that's going to be interaction with you guys. So thanks for all the support.
Yes, thank you. So excited about where this show is. Keep them coming. Frostee Podcast at yahoo.com, The Organic Frost on socials, Ryan Dyrud, LAFB, or podcast at LAFB Network for the general one. Any questions? We obviously, this one was more of a generic questions, but Rams, Chargers, Bruins, Trojans, especially once all seasons are kicking off, let us know. So we are super thankful. Subscribe to the show wherever you listen. Every podcast platform we are on. We're also video platform on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, all at LAFB Network if you want to find those. So thanks, Frostee. Appreciate you. Thanks for a great insight and some great answers.
You got it, buddy. Thank you for the chance. And I'm actually taking a picture of us right now.
There you go.
And post it so you guys know I was taking a picture. Cool shirt.
There you go. Yeah, got to rep that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Believe in LA Football Podcast, brought to you by Golden Road Brewery. We will be live again for our preview show of the Rams and Chargers Week 5 games coming up here in a couple days. We'll talk to you all then. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.